Hello and welcome to the Artful Life's April box review, and I got it today in the mail. So, and it's a oh, okay, beautiful blue. More of these cute stars. I haven't even seen the box. Let's see what's in the box. Okay, now that I've told everyone to be quiet. Oh, look at the postcard this month. Looks like it's on a blending card, so this would be good for Copics, or Copics, as some people say. And it's a 3/4 view face of one of Aurora's stencils. Lovely, lovely. Okay, so what have we got in here? We've got the Holbein Artist Oil Pastels set of 5. They're lovely colours. I tell you what, I've got a whole bunch of oil pastels sitting somewhere that I can't find. I ended up having to go out and buy myself a cheap set recently so that I could do some sgraffito technique, I tell you what. So these, and I have cobalt blue, what have we got? A random set of 5. So it looks like we've got blue, green, pink, like a raw sienna and a yellow. Lovely, lovely. Paper napkins. So, oh, we've got 3 lovely paper napkins that have not been defrocked. Loving this one. It's really cute as well. Gorgeous for little travel art journals as a background or something like that. This one you can see, let me have a look. Yeah, you could go right across and do like I've done a couple of art journal pages where you put this on and then you blend paint into it, enhance them, and maybe add some of your own details in. This would be lovely for a fairy in the garden kind of page, where you paint a fairy using some previous stencils. Oh wow, so this is gorgeous, gorgeous. So this one in my box says, Tree of Love, each branch is a symbol of your love, your strength, your friends, your family, your goals, your hopes and dreams. They all create the tree that is your life. Step back and see how truly blessed you are. I absolutely love that, Aurora. What a gorgeous napkin. I have rarely seen one that folds out that is not the same print on either half or 1/4. So that is just absolutely gorgeous. I'll have to do something with that. Oh, yum. And this just looks so cute and fun. Look, I've already half defrocked it. And this is what I'm talking about. You've got the same pattern on all 4. So this is a pattern that's repeated 4 times. So you get 4 goes at the one thing, or you can use them together. Very, very cute. So paper stumps and tortillions, set of 6. Can't have enough of these. I have quite a few of them, but I use them all the time, and I use them in a number of different things. So they are great for blending charcoal, they're great for blending graphite, they're actually great for blending colour pencils as well. So I find that they work really well for a huge range of mediums. I also use them for really fine detail with chalk pastels. So yes, it's amazing. And I use a tool called a sandpaper sharpener, to actually sharpen these. I actually do a lot of different things as well with charcoal with these. But yes, you sharpen them by sanding with one of these, in case you didn't know. And that's not included in the box. And there is some Mod Podge in here as well, if you haven't tried Mod Podge, as well as the card. And then there's some hand soap. And the Masters Artist hand soap is, it cleans hands of oil and acrylic paint, stains, grease, inks and more, and keeps hands soft. It's formulated to remove petroleum-based paint or materials without harsh and meshy thinners. It removes dried-on paint with just water. It's non-abrasive and leaves hands soft. Use it in the art room and for other dirty tasks around the house. The Masters conditions as it cleans and contains no lanolin. Gorgeous. And of course the monthly stencil, which is a bit lovely. How gorgeous is that? So one thing I've realised is that the image on the back of the box is always something to do with the stencil in the box each month. Now that is just simply lovely, and I could imagine that going on a beautiful card. I can imagine that either one of those images being used within journal pages. I just think that's lovely. That rose is so lovely, and you have a look at the detail, and a lot of the petals are made up of hearts. So Aurora has a really beautiful, unique style. What a lovely box this month. It's a bit of a challenge. There's a few different things in there, but I can see myself working towards something, I think. I think we're working towards something. I think our pastels work very well with that napkin. And somewhere in there I'm going to use the stencil. It's going to be interesting to see how I work everything in, because the things from this month's box are a little bit diverse. So it's going to be really cool. And the challenge is there for sure. Hello, Missladypetal here again. Today I have the April project for the Artful Life box, and I am definitely using that beautiful napkin. So I'm starting off with a layer of Mod Podge, and I'm not using the sample. I'm going to save that for my travel bag. It's the perfect size for a travel bag. So I'm using my actual big bottle of Mod Podge. It is a really good adhesive, but what I find with it is that it dries a bit fast. So if you're in Australia and it's hot for you at the moment, turn your fan off while you're applying it. Otherwise, like me, you will apply it a few times. So what I found with this was this napkin was so delicate that I couldn't actually use a credit card to spread it. I had to use my fingers, because the moment that I started doing anything with it, it just disintegrated. And some napkins are like that. It just depends on the weave. So I then decided to seal the top of it, because I didn't want to wear any of that away while I was doing painting or working with pastels on top of it. So I sealed it on top, and because it dries matte, it is actually quite a good texture work surface, because the napkin was not completely flat, and I'm able to get a little bit of texture, which works really well for the page, to be honest. And I just find in this scenario that working that way with these sorts of napkins, you need to make sure that you defrock them. This one had 3 layers, so you completely defrock them, otherwise you can have parts of them peeling off. So it's really important that you do that. I'm using a Naples yellow in a Matisse structure. That means the paint has a bit of impasto in it and tends to hold its structure better. It's a thicker, heavy body paint, but I decided that I would use it down into this and blend it onto the napkin and use it that way. And I was looking at blending some more into it, but I figured out, because you can tell that the napkin itself has a slight green tinge to it. So I'm just kind of working that so that you can't see. And the reason I used the structure there and not something like a fluid acrylic was that it would actually have strokes up above where the napkin is, and it would hide the join quite well. And that's exactly what it did. It held the join quite well. So I'm just using a tiny amount of Payne's Grey to introduce a bit of colour into the background and extend that up past the join. And right up to the top there. And this helps to meld the join and the background all together. And I'm working reasonably dry here. So I make it reasonably dry, not a lot of water on the brush, which means I get a lot of dry kind of strokes. And then I decided that I would increase some of that blue down the bottom because I want to marry it. I don't want to have one colour up above the blooms and one below, so I kind of added some areas of light and dark underneath, and this contributes to having the colour palette consistent throughout the napkin with no really obvious joins, and you can see that you really can't see that join already. The texture up and above and beyond is not hugely noticeable. So it works really well. So I'm using these beautiful Holbein pastels. Like, man, these pastels, these oil pastels, I have been using student grade oil pastels until I got my hands on these. And these Faber-Castell ones, lots and lots of filler, much, much softer. I'm only using that red one there because I do not have the red in the Holbein. But these are seriously good. Have a look at that beautiful colour going on. It's not completely oily. It's very, very strong. I love the blendability of these. They are incredibly creamy. But what I loved about this was it kind of looked like I was painting with oil paints. And I liked that I could really get in there and blend without having to use my finger or a blending tool. And this is kind of a big difference between what I find to do with the student oil pastels and something like this, which is an artist grade pastel and really, really good quality. I love the multiple colours that I can just get from these, and I'm joining lots of those colours together to get a different kind of a palette and to really kind of change up and do something with these flowers and make them more vibrant. I've done this a few times and you've been able to see that a few times. I think I'm going to show you another page that I did coming up, and that will work quite well. So I'm still continuing to work around with those colours. Now I'm adding some of that green in, and I tell you what, the stalks of those flowers were really quite a yellow olivey colour. I'm liking that green a lot better. It's really in that kind of a mint green kind of palette, and all I wanted to do was to keep playing with these flowers like over and over and over again. I just loved adding the blue and even some green into some of the palettes of the flowers. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like full-on oil paintings where you're just slapping colour on and using these really diverse palettes in a really expressionistic style on a really pale background. It's quite an unusual sort of process. I'm just going in with some white here, and you know, the difference between that Faber-Castell oil pastel and those Holbeins is really marked. You can see that the white was not a strong white, but wherever I go in with the Holbeins, it's such a strong colour and it really does dominate everywhere, and I absolutely love it. And I tell you what, this was very addictive. I could sit there and literally play with this for hours. I didn't play with it for hours. I played with it for about 40 minutes all up. And I tell you, I could have gone for much, much longer, but there's only so much of this blending and playing around that I guess you want to see. Suffice to say, if you're receiving this box this month, you're in for an absolute treat. If you don't have Holbein oil pastels, you're in for an absolute treat. The first thing I did after I tried these pastels out was went and Googled Holbein oil pastels and was astounded at how darn expensive those things were. Like, wow, they're expensive, but they are considered, with Sennelier, one of the best brands of oil pastels with great light fastness. So I'm using this stencil because I love that word. I love the lettering on that word, and it just fit perfectly into that little bit there. And then I'm sitting there going, okay, what else will I put in here? I'm thinking spring. I'm in autumn at the moment in Australia, but I know the States are in spring. And I know a lot of you, and this whole napkin made me think of spring. And I love using my own handwriting to do this, and I just thought about it, the newness and the colour of spring. And then I thought, that didn't marry in with the stenciled in kind of ink pad look. So I went over that word with the Posca pens so that it would look the same. And then I thought, I love to frame my pages, but I didn't feel the need to frame this. So I just finished it off and left it as it was, and I'm very happy with it. Now, you can't fix oil pastels, and this is in a journal. So actually have a book page in between so that these don't rub off on each other because they don't cure and go hard. So there we go. Love Holbein.